Hey, I'm Kevin Kennard with Spiral X, here to showcase our cold weather package for our forced draft BTEX units. What I got here is a Series 6 forced draft louvered hinge door setup, so completely closed. And a note about the louvers is these are purely seasonal. We do not regulate the temperature inside with louvers. This is more for in the hotter months when you don't want to overheat anything. You can open them up, and in the colder months and freezing temperatures, you can keep them 100% closed. And we like to control the temperature with a temperature transmitter and the fan control. So we will be cutting off the fans to let the natural heat of the incoming exhaust and the BTEX gases do the heating of the inside of the unit for us, instead of having to dictate your louvers opening and closing with a lot more moving parts. So I have an example of a closed louvers and then the open louvers, and then I'll open her up. Both sides have hinge doors, all banks, so you'll be able to easily access all your components here. And you got, just like you see here, we got another first section with the fan, and then you'll see our tank, and then the temperature transmitter inside the tank. This is what we will be using with 4 to 20 milliamp signal to control on and off of these two fans here. And they can be controlled independently, so you can have two separate dead bands if you just want to turn one off as like a preliminary precaution for freezing, and if it just gets freezing cold temperatures, negatives, you can cut both fans off. And again, we let the exhaust coming in, blowing, those fans blowing across now is just completely having the heat inside of the tank, so you have much less likelihood of it freezing. So just to get in your mind, you got your fan motor likewise on this side, and you got your temperature transmitter all feeding in over here. So follow me and I'll show you what it looks like on the control side with our governance module in our junction box. Now here we're on the tail end. We were just over there with showing you the two fans. Now here is the fan control screen on our HMI. You can see here we have it set to auto. We have this where you can set it to manual to check for rotation during startup, and then you can set it to auto mode after that. And like I was saying, each section has its own deadband, to where first off at 45 degrees we can shut the first fan off to get a little bit warmer air in there, just to make sure if it's just colder temperatures, make sure that it won't get too cold. Then if you're just plummeting negative temperatures, you can shut both fans off. And the idea is it's so cold out there that it is naturally condensing your vapors, and that's all being monitored by the temperature transmitter inside the tank. And so as the temperature rises back up, it'll cut these fans back on, one at 45 degrees and then again the other one at 55 degrees. Just for an example on this one. And you can adjust those if it sees that you want it to cut off a little sooner. You can always adjust these ranges here. And with that, you're able to more effectively regulate the temperature on the inside. Again, closing the louvers is the standard whenever you have colder regions, and the only reason you would open those louvers is if you have very much warmer, hotter seasons and you just want to crack it open to let it vent out so it's not keeping all that heat in. Other than that, you can have them closed, and you're now monitoring and controlling the temperature via fan control instead of louvers having to open and close on both sides. So in conclusion, our forced draft BTEX systems can have fully enclosed setups on them. All sides have hinge doors for easy access, and the adjustable louvers are really there just for when it gets very hot and you're afraid of overheating the system. Other than that, have them closed. Let the incoming exhaust regulate the temperature and prevent freezing, which is then controlled by our temperature transmitter inside the tank. Rather than having to calculate airflows and adjusting louvers that way, it's much more simpler to just regulate and monitor the temperature at the source, turning on your fans, which can be individually monitored and adjusted to make sure that the system can fine-tune to your actual environment on site. And yeah, thanks for tuning in and learning a little bit more about our forced draft BTEX systems.